Good afternoon, everybody. I am Ashley Furr. We are here with Crystal for the Pristine Connections Podcast. So thanks for joining in today. Crystal, you're with the Dunn Realty Group. Is that correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about you.
A little bit about me. I was born and raised in McKinney, Texas, so right up the road. Grew up here until I was 18, went to Salina High School, and then I went to Texas A&M for college.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that school. I was at that for a couple years.
Really? Okay.
I tried to get in a few times, and I was like, maybe this isn't for me anymore. What did you major in?
I did business.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. What year did you graduate?
2017 in December. So
nice.
Yeah.
So I was actually there when you were there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was there for
funny.
a couple years.
We'll talk offline about it.
I know. Yeah, we definitely do. So what got you into this business and industry?
Well, right after college, I had an internship opportunity through a program at A&M in Washington, D.C. And so I interned on the Hill there, so in Congress. And I worked there for a few years in 2 different member offices. And then I did some political consulting and fundraising as well after that. But I just kind of decided I wanted to do something more entrepreneurial long-term, and I love real estate and I love working with people. So I thought it'd be a really cool opportunity. And I was just in my 20s. I was like, you know what, let's just give it a shot and see how it goes. And so here I am now.
That's awesome. So how long were you in DC for?
The past 7 years, I just recently moved back. So ever since I graduated from school, I've been up there.
Okay.
So,
wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So obviously you moved back because family's here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all my family lives here.
That's great. How was it in DC? So, I mean, did you enjoy your time working with politics and on the Hill?
I loved it. It was so much fun. I always tell people working in Congress, it's just run by a bunch of 20-year-olds pretty much. So like everyone in the office, I'd say the cap age is like 30, 32. So everybody's super young. There's events every night. It's so much fun. And so I met a lot of lifelong friends. So that's definitely enjoyed that time for sure.
Did you work long days though?
Sometimes, not too much though, honestly. Government's pretty 9 to 5, so that's one of the nice perks.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whenever I watch like shows like Designated Survivor, they're there for what feels like all 24 hours of the day.
Yeah, no.
Not like that. That's good to know. So obviously you got back into real estate and had to get licensed. How is it doing Texas real estate versus in DC?
Yeah, very different.
Yeah.
DC, I'd say everything geographically is obviously much closer together, and everybody wants to be near DC proper. So it's kind of all within a 20-minute, like for showings, it's always within a 20-minute drive for me.
That's nice.
So being here, it's very different. You can have a showing in Sherman and then all the way in downtown Dallas. So it's been a little bit of an adjustment, but I love it. And it's nice to be home. So.
And you can drive 20 minutes in Sherman and still be in Sherman.
Exactly.
So. That's hilarious. Well, what's the like price range difference between here and there? Is it kind of the same? I feel like it's more expensive in DC.
So it's actually surprisingly more expensive here than I was expecting. I really didn't keep my thumb on the Texas market that much while I was obviously doing real estate up there. The average home price up there is pretty high. I'd say it's in the 700-800s. And then down here it's a little bit lower, but I'd say like 600. So it's not super far off.
Okay.
Not as far as you'd expect, I guess.
Yeah, I guess in my mind I'm like, big city, New York.
Yeah.
That's funny. What motivates you every day?
I'd say I love helping people make one of the biggest investments of their life. And I love being the one to kind of help guide them through that process. So honestly, my clients do motivate me a lot. And then my family is a huge motivator for me. And I always just try to think of the life I want to live 10, 20 years from now. And, you know, how do I need to work today to get there? So I'd say that's my biggest motivator. And my dog, of course.
What kind of dog do you have?
He's a Havapoo.
What?
Yeah, it's a Havanese mini poodle. So obviously have to work hard and hustle to get him a yard.
Yeah,
so.
I want to see a picture of
I'll
him
show
when
you.
we're done. How cute. So is your family in the industry as well, or do they do something different?
No. So my dad, he worked for HUD for 20 years. And then my mom is a kindergarten teacher. And she's actually retiring in May.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So neither of them did it.
Yeah. Is she a teacher for McKinney?
Yeah.
Okay.
Webb Elementary.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really great.
Yeah.
Obviously, since starting your business and really just moving back to Texas, what have been some of the challenges for you?
I'd say moving back generally, I'm having to not completely restart, but restart. up in DC. So I'd done it for about 3.5 years. So I was at that, I'd say that precipice, the hockey stick of getting referrals and repeat customers and all that credibility and trust.
Yeah.
And so I just had this aha moment when I was up there where I was like, do I want to be here long term? And if not, I probably need to make that change sooner rather than later and be where I want to build a long-term business.
Yeah.
So I just kind of decided that it would be a better time now to make an exit and sort of restart here. And
Yeah.
so I'd say that's been a challenge for sure, like finding the right team. But I've been really thankful to be plugged in here at KW and with the team I'm on. So
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And how long have you been part of that team?
I officially joined in January.
Oh,
So it's been a few months. Yeah.
That's great. So
Yeah.
how's business been since you joined?
It's been good. We've been busy. We just went over in our meeting the other day. We have, I think, 7 upcoming listings for this month, next month, and May.
That's amazing.
And then we'll, for sure, we're working hard to get more. So
yeah. Good job.
yeah.
That's
Thank
amazing.
you.
A huge testament to Savannah. I've known her
Oh,
for
yeah.
a long time. She is my personal agent still and best friend. So her husband and my husband hang out every week, I feel like.
She's the best. I'm
Yeah.
so thankful I found her.
That's great. I know we talked about this offline because there's so many stories that you guys have, but tell us some of your craziest stories or funny stories.
Yeah.
No names, obviously.
Crazy. I'd say my top 2 was I found out at a closing table that my client was or one of the clients, it was a couple, the wife was previously married and she never had told the husband, I guess. And so, when they do the credit checks and they have any name you've previously gone by, he was like, what is this name I don't recognize? And so it came out that she was formerly married and never mentioned it to him. So we awkwardly got up and gave them a few minutes to chat. That one was pretty interesting.
Did they close?
They did.
Okay.
They did. After about a 20-minute argument or scuffle in there, they made it work.
Oh, man.
And then I think the other funny one was I just had a showing opportunity in DC. It was like really last minute with a client that just reached out to me over the phone. And he wanted to look at it was like a $9 million property. He sent over the proof of funds. I was like, oh, okay, so we go. And then it turns out he knows Drake. And so he invited me on their boat the next day, but I did not go.
Yeah.
I chickened out.
Oh, my gosh. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So now
it
you
was
can
fun.
just say, you would have.
I
known
almost
Drake.
met
You
Drake.
almost
That's
met
my,
Drake.
yeah.
There's always so many crazy stories. I was in title and we had so many instances like that. Names, children, anything that just came out of the woodworks. And you always hear about those stories and then you live it. And because at the time, it's just not believable. And you're like, there's no way that happens. And then it happens every day.
Yeah.
And you're just like, wow, okay. These people are insane.
They're crazy. That's one thing I've learned working in real estate. People are just crazy.
Yeah.
Love people also, but
Yes.
they're crazy.
It's okay. It's like a whole, you're buying your biggest investment, there's a
You
lot
get to be
that
a little
just-
crazy,
Yeah,
I
you can be a little crazy for sure. That's hilarious. I'm sure we can keep talking about all sorts of stories, but what does your day-to-day routine look like?
Every day, one thing I love about real estate is every day is a little different. I'd say my staples are I try to wake up early, so like 6:30 and be at the gym. So I have a fun workout partner. We'll go work out. I like to start my day there. And then depending on if I'm doing showings or whatnot, I'll either kind of just get dressed and go start my day from there, go to the office or do showings. And then I'll usually kind of do that in the morning, and then I'll try to leave the afternoon for some social media stuff, admin work, then, do some life admin errands and walk my dog. I'd say those are some of my top priorities. And, lead gen, that one's also very important. So I do that for like an hour a day right now, but I need to up that a little bit.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Off the flight question, what are some of your hobbies?
I love anything outdoors pretty much. So my parents have a 2-acre property in North McKinney. So I help my dad garden and kind of take care of that. So I love gardening and being outside. He also has chickens, so I'll help him kind of take care of those. But other than that, I love to work out. I love to run. I love to hike, go with friends to try new restaurants and bars and stuff like that. So those are some of my faves. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really great. Back to the business side. So what advice would you give to the up and coming generation that wants to move into a role like yours?
That's a good question. I'd say so my first week when I started, I decided to be in real estate. I'd quit my job, got licensed, everything. My first week, I read a statistic, and it was roughly 90% of agents fail in the first year. And that was super scary to read, especially after the choice I just made. And now I had to figure out how to make it work, basically. So I'd say something I did that helped me be successful was I feel like I positioned myself with a brokerage who really helped with that training and lead gen in the beginning. So it wasn't a lot of me learning on the job. I feel like I learned a lot before I formally started, which really helped. So I'd say being plugged in with a brokerage like that and just doing your homework. Like I studied the maps for hours. I studied the contracts because I really wanted to make sure I understood all those intricacies and details before I actually was trying to present it and walk through it with a client. So I'd say those things and probably joining a team for sure. I'm very glad I went the team route in the beginning. It helped me learn a lot faster than if you just start out on your own. And you have a much higher chance of being one of the 10% that sticks it out and makes it the first year.
For sure. That's great advice. Do you have any long-term goals?
Yes, I do. I love being a realtor. So I'd love to be a realtor for as long as possible. I'd say my goals within that, I'd love to be an investor. So currently what I'd like to do is purchase properties to make Airbnbs. So either in Texas or in other states. And so I'm working on my first one, hopefully to purchase this fall, which is, I'm very excited. So doing investing and then probably just helping as many families as I can buy and sell homes for now.
Do you have a certain area that you like to stay in?
For the realtor side or the Airbnb side?
Oh, realtor side.
I'm pretty open. I grew up in McKinney, obviously, so I know Collin County really well. It has changed a lot since I've been gone for 10 years, but kind of seeing it all again, that's my favorite area, and I love Dallas as well. So pretty much anywhere in there I love, but I'm also open to, other areas, other counties if, people are really interested in looking there. So
sure.
Yeah.
What experiences or challenges that have you had though that's made you a better leader?
I've always been, I'd say, in leadership positions. So I was dance captain in high school, and I had leadership roles in my college, in different organizations and sororities. So I would just say, like, maybe cumulatively over the years, I've kind of worked in different positions with a lot of people to where I've had to really learn how to be, a fair and kind leader, or put my best foot forward, or be an example, I'd say is what I really aim to be. Nothing stands out in particular as like a specific instance or experience, but also helping too. We had a few interns when I was working in Congress and then also in real estate that, they look up to you and they want to hear how you're doing and how they can be successful in the industry too. So I'd say kind of trying to look at it from their shoes and like, what would I really benefit from learning? So that's kind of, I'd say, some of the experiences that have helped me develop in that way.
Yeah. Do you read any developmental books or listen to any podcasts?
I do. I'd say I need to get back on my podcast game, but I love reading books. And I try to kind of alternate between a fiction and then a self-help or development book. What's the one I'm reading right now? It's called The Compound Effect.
Okay.
So
what's that about?
It's good. Just basically about how like little choices add up over time and they completely change the trajectory of your career and life. Like one of the examples he gave in the book, which was kind of cool. I might butcher it a little bit, but if there were two planes leaving from LA and one of them, and the destination was like DC or something, if it was 1 degree off, by the time it reaches the East Coast, it would actually be in Albany, New York, or something crazy. So he's just talking about how each small decision you make each day can really make an impact over time. So that's a helpful
that is a great
philosophy
book
to think
about. I'm reading some like crime book right now because I alternate.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to fiction next month.
I joined a book club and everything. I'm like just trying to do something
really?
different. Yeah.
Okay, I love book club. I had one in DC, so I need
I'll
one.
Send you
Yes.
send you the details. We obviously talked about crazy stories, but I guess talk about some of your success stories. This is the biggest purchase that most people will make in their life. So let's talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah. One of my sweetest was this past May. It was an older lady, and she'd lived in the same house with her late husband for, it was 25 years, and he passed,
Oh, no.
2 years before. And so I met her a year before she was even ready to sell, but we just kind of clicked. I felt like a pseudo granddaughter to her, honestly, because she didn't have any kids. And so she loved, I'd go over and bring her coffee and tea, and we'd just chat. So it was really nice to get to know her. And so then she told me during one of those little coffee sessions, one of her biggest dreams was to live in Holland Hills, which is a mid-century modern development in the DC area, one of the most famous. And that was always her and her late husband's dream to live there. And so she was like, but I really have to get a specific price for my house to make that happen. Like, do you think you could help me do it? And I said, of course we can. Like, let's do it. And so we got her $25,000 over what she wanted for her house. And then we had to battle for her dream home in that subdivision. It was so popular. So we were against, I think, 5 different offers, but we pulled all sorts of strings to make it happen. And so she got the house. She got her dream price for her home, and then she got to live out that dream with her golden retriever now. So it was precious. That was definitely the sweetest for sure.
Been like writing a letter like, this lady's dream is to live here. Like,
Yeah.
all
Oh,
the
we
things.
did. We did. We
Just the
did.
saddest, sweetest story, and just be like, here.
And then it was actually really sweet. The seller of the home, he lost his wife. And so that's why he was moving. So I was like, it was just tear fest all around, but it was
Yeah.
great. It was really sweet to help her do that and make that happen.
Amazing. Yeah. I mean, I know some situations, I mean, it's pretty tight, like right up to the very end. Do you have any situations like that where they didn't really think they would have that opportunity and you got them there?
Yeah, I'd say a lot of people who look to sell with me, they'll tell me maybe what another realtor told them they could get for the home. And quite a few times, more often than not, I've been able to say, actually, I think it's worth a little bit more. Or if we do, I just went to a staging consultation today. And so I kind of was just reminded that investing a little bit in staging and just a few not crazy updates can really add to the value of your home because you're trying to help buyers envision themselves there, and that gets you a lot more return on your investment later. So we kind of have been able to do that with quite a few clients too, and just give them some tips and tricks to get that price they really want and that they need to make it happen. So
Well, it's a lot of education. I mean, you guys obviously as agents have different vendors that you work with that also try to add value just to kind of get everybody to the finish line. Because a lot of these times it is very emotional. Like
Yeah.
they might be buying their first home, or they're selling their forever home and having to move on to the next stage of life. Like there's just a lot of emotion that goes into stuff like this.
Yeah.
And just really being able to help them is, I think, very sweet.
Yeah, and that's why one of my favorite gifts to give sellers, especially when they're leaving a forever home or somewhere they raise their kids or something like that. I have a girl who does watercolor paintings of the house, and so I'll frame it, and that's like everybody's favorite. So I definitely try to do that.
I love that.
Yeah, it's really cute. They're
That's
cute.
amazing.
They're cute.
That's probably the best gift we've gotten before too. Our best
Yeah.
friend, she's an artist. Well, she's a teacher, but she's an art teacher, and she painted our very first house for us, which
That's
was
so
great. Like it's
cute.
just little things like that that just mean the world. I love that.
Exactly.
That's great. We're gonna pivot. So obviously, the real estate world's been shaken by the news from the National Association of Realtors on their
Yes.
settlement. Do you want to touch on that? Share your opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, nothing is signed yet, and there's no changes officially into effect, but kind of what we've heard from some trainings and doing my own research, essentially, I think it will have some impact, but it's relatively going to stay the same. So the major change is the amount a buyer's agent is going to be compensated can't be listed on the MLS anymore. And so it's just going to kind of change how agents communicate with each other, and then how listing agents communicate with sellers, best practices moving forward. So one thing on the training they mentioned today was sellers kind of have 3 options. They can either list their home, pay the buyer's agency fee, they can list their home and leave it up as negotiable, or they can list their home and not offer to pay anything at all. So I think what that's going to kind of result in is a lot of listing agents having to educate sellers now on, hey, you're going to expose your home to the maximum amount of buyers and buyers agents if you offer a compensation, and we make that extremely clear. versus if, you know, you don't, that might have some other repercussions because there's a lot of uncertainty there, you know. I'd say that's the major change I've kind of noticed. So I've been thinking about how to just incorporate that into my listing appointments and educate when people ask me about that. And the change, I believe it's slotted to start in July if signed. So we have a little bit of time to still kind of work through that. But
Sure.
yeah.
Do you think some sellers might wait to list their home until July so they don't have to pay the buyer's agent?
I could definitely see some people doing that for sure. I don't think that's necessarily the smartest choice, but you know, it's up to them. It's their house. It's their choice. So,
Well, there's just been so many agents up in arms about it, just trying
Yeah.
to, you know, kind of navigate what this is going to be like. Obviously, the 90% of agents don't survive within their first year. How do you think this will affect agents trying to get their license? Do you think they might back out knowing that this is going into effect?
I think, starting as a new agent, there is already so many new things and so much to learn. I could see this definitely discouraging people or making people nervous. It's already a lot to try to figure out the contracts and how to get clients and how to get business. And so adding another layer of kind of objection from clients onto it might be too much for some people to handle for sure.
But they should still get licensed and join because there's still
Oh, yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy. So it goes into effect in July. So between now and July, I mean, obviously the buyer's agent commission is still in
Listed
effect.
on the MLS.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So it's just kind of a change, I'd say, in the transparency of compensation, which isn't,
Sure.
I don't know. We'll just have to see how it all
We'll
shakes
see how
out.
it
But
pans out. That's
Yeah.
insane. Well, thank you so much for that little tidbit of information. I know, I mean, it's just been the talk of the hour. I feel like
Yes.
the last couple
For us too.
last couple of weeks. I don't even know. I feel like this happened. Cool. Since you've been on a team, I mean, how can our viewers find you, get connected with you?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Crystal Johnson, and then Instagram. My Instagram is closewith_Crystal.
Okay.
I'd say those are the two main places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we'll make sure we get that shared when the episode drops. Any last minute things that you want to talk about or share just for anybody listening?
I don't think so, but thank you so much for having me. This
Thanks
was so
for
much
being
fun.
on. Yeah, absolutely. View this episode next week on Pristine Connections Podcast. And thanks for joining us.
Thank you.